yeah, I don't want to get caught up in definitional games too much. I wanted to get into a specific topic, which is you recently wrote a discourse about hard work, which I thought was really, really interesting. And I have a bunch of views on hard work. Maybe I'll start off at a very high level. Like, I think hard work is important, but I think hard work is an effect of something that you know needs to be done. Like, if you need to do hard work to get something done that you care about, then you work hard. But a lot of what I see going on these days is hard work for its own sake. And I think we live in a very different era than one that we evolved in. We live in an era of almost infinite leverage. And that means, like, when you are working, your decisions mean they echo larger. So there's code working for you, there's people working for you, there's money that's working for you. So there's machines working for you. It isn't just that you're standing there with your bare hands and tearing at something. You're tools. We're tool bearing creatures. And so because of all these tools we have available, our judgment matters much more than hard work. So even though I think sometimes you do need to work hard and you should never shy away from it if that's what it takes to succeed in whatever you want, I do think that it gets overplayed in society. So that's kind of my view on hard work, but I think it's probably a little more conventional than yours. So I just wanted to explore it together with you a little bit. How do you think about hard work?
I think hard work is yet another example of a prescription, to be honest with you. I think it's done largely out of anxiety. I think hard work is done largely out of fear. I think one of the common things that you will often hear in the world of sports and business is that if you're not working hard, then the next guy is. And if you're only putting in 4 hours, he's putting in 12. And so hard work has become its own game. It's like meditation. Meditation becomes a competition. So the thing that you were really seeking actually becomes replaced by the game of hard work. And hard work, like effort, becomes sort of its own goal. And that seems to be the pattern behind things, is when you follow a prescription or an intermediary, then that intermediary tends to replace the ultimate goal, and that becomes your new game. So hard work, it isn't, the person who needs to work hard will work hard, but it isn't that he needs to be told to work hard and he needs to strive towards working hard. I think hard work is the result of something. I think whatever needs to be done when a person has a sufficient and requisite degree of desire, he will do. And from the outside, that will come off and reflect as hard work to those who are looking. But it isn't the opposite. It isn't that if I work hard, then I will get this, because then that introduces what I call a gap. And that gap is that I must introduce some step in the middle, that I am being promised that if I fulfill that step, that some powers that be or some force out of the universe will grant me what I want because I have satisfied that step. And I think that is the fault. I think that is the way that everyone looks at things and is being taught to look at things. Many things are named, and in the naming, problems exist and problems arise. So if someone wants to become arrive at the top of their field, does that mean that they don't work hard? No, but they would never view it as working hard. They would view it as, I will do whatever needs to be done to get there, and I don't consider that work necessarily.
Yeah,
I consider that necessities.
You look at the experts, and to them, what may look like hard work from the outside, to them is play from the inside.
That's right.
In fact, one of the things I really think people should focus much more on is figuring out what feels like play to them but looks like work to others.
That's right.
Because that's your superpower, and that's where you'll just outperform everybody. I see with startups all the time. I see lots of people who work really hard but still fail, and often, the most common reason is they just pick the wrong thing to do. The world is a big place. It's very hard to figure out what's going to work before it works. Product market fit, this thing that gets thrown around, coined by Mark Andreessen, is a very difficult thing to achieve. You're trying to predict what the market wants. You're trying to build a product exactly for the market. And sometimes hard work alone won't get you there. I think what you choose to work on and who you choose to work with, and actually kind of how badly you want it, which is more than just working hard, or more important than just the raw hours you put in. There are lots of people running restaurants and kind of meat space businesses, not in the startup world, who outwork startup entrepreneurs, but yet they don't succeed, or if they do succeed, it's at much lower numbers or much lower magnitude.
Right, and I would say that a large reason for that is that society has been sold romantic ideas. Romanticism is a very big part of things. Society very much seems to value effort. Effort is a big deal, and effort is sort of sort of an arrival of sorts for society. That look how hard I work, look how much effort I'm putting in, and therefore I am doing the right thing by doing that. And the problem that arises from that oftentimes is those who are very efficient are demonized. Because very often you will find in every domain those who don't work nearly as, quote, hard as everybody else, but they get 10 times the results, and they're considered to be lucky. And so I think if you look at, I like to pattern things around nature. And if you look at nature, it doesn't work hard. If you look at gravity, it doesn't work hard. If you look at a tree and a leaf falling off of a tree, it doesn't work hard. If you look at a water going down a river, it doesn't work hard. So everything moves according to its own rhythm. And whatever necessities are there, they're there, and therefore they need to be worked around. But working hard is an added extra romantic step in order to put another feather in the cap, which says, I succeeded by working hard.
Yeah, it's also, I think sometimes I also think of work as a set of things that you have to do that you don't want to do.
Right.
If you want to do it, it's not work. So example is like, you might be grinding at work for 10 hours and it's suffering, it's painful. And then you get home and to relax, you play video games. But to an alien watching from the outside, playing a video game is more intense than whatever you're doing at work. You're running around with a gun, shooting at people. You're jumping over, collecting mushrooms, gold coins, whatever it is. That could be construed as hard work. But because you want to do it, because you can lose yourself in it, there's not suffering. So I don't think it's people get burned out on work. They just get burned out on work they don't want to do, which is a form of suffering. So every thing that you need to do, not every step of it is going to be pleasant, of course. But it's really important to align yourself in work where you're not suffering. So when I find like engineers who are out trying to be salespeople or salespeople who are out trying to be engineers, it's better to team up with someone who really enjoys the other side of it and stick to what you're good at and team up. So that's why I think founding teams are very powerful, where you have one person who can build and one person who can sell. Because then neither one feels like they're doing hard work. Each one is doing what they enjoy. But together, the company from the outside looks like it's working really hard. And as we know, in a $1 billion company, the employees aren't working any harder than a $1 million company. They're just doing the right thing. And the right people are doing the right things in the right way.
And I think one of perhaps the key element of hard work, which I must say is an elephant in the room, which is rarely discussed in the world, is that hard work is considered to be a door prize. It seems to be sort of the preparing of the bed of failure. I think that a lot of times hard work is done in order to have an excuse for the mind when the mind comes attacking and says, how come you didn't make it? And if a person is armed with the ammunition that I have worked hard, then he has an answer for the mind. Whereas if he just sat on the couch and did nothing, he would not have that ammunition. So many times people do hard work in order to have an answer for the mind because they know they're going to fail anyways.